like a daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play. Option Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Hey, good morning, Vietnam.
How are we doing today, Dan?
Doing good, Troy. Yeah, when you said Vietnam, it made me think of MASH. Remember, did you like MASH?
Oh my gosh, listen, Dan, as a kid, now this is different eras. I think my generation in their 40s, I would like to think that everybody's in unison with me. In chat, just straight away, I'd love for you to jump in on this. When I saw MASH come on TV, it was one of the more depressing. Like, I hated MASH so much because, Dan, it wasn't the type of humor. I mean, people say, oh, it's a funny show. It's not a funny show at all. It's like the music at the intro is super depressing.
Oh, it was a little dark. I mean, I like when I think of like beginning songs, I mean, let's be honest. Nobody does a better job at the beginning songs and stuff than Troy. So let's give a shout out to Troy. But two shows that really, I MASH, the beginning show, and you're going to call me wimpy when I tell you the next one, but MASH with that song and people coming in. But how can you say, yes, they were funny, but I mean, what's the opening scenes? They're bringing in people that just got shot into the thing, but that song was good. The other song I like at the beginning, now this shows you the wimp I am. Do you remember the Mary Tyler Moore Show? Can you?
Yeah. Now, again, that was beyond, before my time a little bit, but the reruns were there when I was growing up.
Yes, and she was. I think that the song was she was this independent woman, and yeah. I think, and it was wonderful. I mean, I love Mary Tyler. I mean, it was a great show. But I don't know what point I was trying to make here with those two. Just having a senior.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, listen. While we're just being honest about Mary Tyler Moore, I didn't realize, growing up, this Mary Tyler Moore show, you knew she was famous for that. It wasn't until later that I connected because I like Dick Van Dyke a lot. One day watching the Dick Van Dyke show, a young Mary Tyler Moore is his wife, and she's gorgeous, and it's black and white, and there's something that makes it even more magical about it. Watching a black and white version of that,
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, if you ever want an inspiring story, I looked at a documentary on, Dick Van Dyke's turned 100 or whatever he is, 101.
Yeah.
You think, okay, Mary Poppins, Dick Van Dyke show, this guy just hit it. But if you look, even with his success and before, he had a ton of failures. A lot, in that industry, a lot of his movies, even after Mary Poppins or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, that was another. Remember that? Those are, I mean, pretty entertaining.
I love it. My favorite, I mean, the go-to, Dan, and again, this reveals a lot about me. My go-to, I'd spend a lot of time with my grandparents. Shout out grandparents. They raised me in a lot of ways. Mom worked really hard. Andy Griffith was kind of the staple. Andy Griffith show was a lot of lessons.
I've borrowed from that show. I always say the patron saint of risk management. To me, and we're going to get into a discussion on a Iron Condor situation maybe in a few minutes.
Yeah,
about something that happened. But to me, surviving for a retail trader in the world of options trading has absolutely nothing to do with the strategy or most of the things that you would think about. It's just risk management. And the patron saint of risk management was Barney Fife, because Barney Fife's favorite saying, nip it, nip it in the bud. And I mean,
Nip it in the
that's
bud.
management is really, I mean, yes, it's about sizing too, which we'll get in.
Yeah.
But I think it is that nip it, having a plan, and you're going to take care of it. You're not going to have the retail. I mean, let's think about it. You know, for a retail option trader, your good year or bad year, if you're trading consistently and quite a bit is, you know, and let's assume you're doing something that has some edge, right? Selling a put. I'm thinking of some strategies in the OO community, DCs, selling some puts, something with, you know, you back test a good MAR, a reasonable good, what do you call it? Return and everything like that. But it always comes down to the rails, right? Are your losers or drawdowns, right, going to wipe you out? And it's all that is just being responsible. And that's what's wonderful with the back testing tool is that you can nip it in the bud. You know, in DCs, you can have rails in, say if it goes too far past the short strike, you're done. All right, that's it. Live to play another day. Don't start the, you know, it's going to come back. I looked at Fibonacci and Fibonacci and Harbonera and it's coming, you know, forget it. It's coming back. Or if you're with put credit spreads or short puts, nothing. I mean, I've never taught short puts because I just, you know, teaching people basically 45 to 50 to 90. I don't want to be responsible for that because there are people that are totally, I would trust with managing naked short options much more than I would people with put credit spreads because they're solid risk managers, right?
Yeah.
But for 85% of people, I'm not for just selling short puts because they don't have a good plan. They don't size it properly, right? I mean, it's a good strategy. But I think in short puts, having some type of either a good rail, where do you call it quits on it so you can live to play another day, or your size is so small, right? I mean, these are basic things. And you'll see, I don't know if this is the time to kind of prelude into
Well, Dan, Tom just came in strong with the question. So here's the thing. Right before the show, we were talking, and Dan said, "Hey, have you heard of this Captain Condor guy?"
the Captain Crunch cereal.
I said, "Oh boy, oh boy." I said, "The chat." I said, "You want to get the chat frenzied? We'll start talking about Captain Condor."
You guys have, before we talked about, so I've never heard of this guy until somebody in one of the sessions yesterday said, "Dan, have you heard about Captain Condor?" And they put the thing up and we looked at it and they martingale and all this kind of stuff and 1,000 people and $50 million loss. And where is how have you in some of the folk in the chat heard of this guy?
Well, so I mean, he was putting this. I think it was last year. It was kind of his big hurrah. Like,
you want to give us for those who maybe don't know? Is this something that just Captain Condor's? This is a guy who had a newsletter and it blew up. Is that basically it?
Yeah, basically. So let me share this real quick and go from there. Let me forgot how to share things. Watch this publicly, how I share. And I've shared. So this is marketwatch.com. I experienced, can you see this?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to read this together as a family. Yeah, Mr. Flawless, we did not hire Captain Condor recently. That's both a funny joke and the best kind of jokes, which are also tinged a little bit. So, all right. I experienced a catastrophic financial loss. How option trader Captain Condor led his followers to a $50 million wipeout. So let's just read it together. The option trader known as Captain Condor and his acolytes.
1 second, just to meditate on while Troy's reading this is led his followers. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay. The options trader known as Captain Condor and his acolytes experienced a wipeout last week that incinerated tens of millions of dollars, cost some investors their life savings. A strategy that had reliably produced winnings for the trader whose real name is David Chow, and his group of roughly 1,000 investors went awry just before Christmas, saddling them with what was, by one count, a $50 million loss. The fatal flaw, Dan, the fatal flaw, what finally caused Chow and his crew to lose most or all of their trading capital was his use of the martingale betting system. Now, Dan, were you familiar with the martingale betting system?
I have heard it through the years. Refreshed myself yesterday. If I understand it correctly, it's just basically doubling down. Is that?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is
so,
that it?
what his use of the martingale betting system? In the martingale system, the bettor doubles down after each loss, hoping to recoup their money and then some. After a streak of mounting losses, his followers risked it all on Christmas Eve and saw the last of their capital wiped out as the S&P tallied a record closing high. I love when they put the current or the last close next to things where it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Some members of Chow's group lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, most of their life savings, according to account statements reviewed by MarketWatch. One member launched a GoFundMe page soliciting donations to help cover basic living expenses. And I just want to throw it out there. Tom, how's that GoFundMe page working? JK, just kidding. Gotcha. So on Christmas Eve, I experienced a catastrophic financial loss in the stock market. The loss happened suddenly and completely changed my circumstances overnight, the page read. In interviews on podcasts, Chow said he had calculated the chances of a total loss to be vanishingly small. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did his back testing.
Anybody who knows any math at all knows that was a very large, vanishingly small number. All right. The group's misfortune elicited a flurry of commentary and speculation on social media platforms like X. If nothing else, it helped to highlight the risks that investors can face in a rapidly growing U.S. options market. Okay. So, do you guys remember what the trade was? I mean, he gave it away in his name. It's Condor, right? So, Dan, he would put on a Condor. Now, there's people in the chat that know a lot more about this than me, because I think maybe some people in the chat were followers. And so he put on a Condor at the end of the day between 4 and 4:15, and it was after hours. And I think that's true. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. And basically, it was a Condor that he would have numbers on. I don't remember where he got his levels from, but the service was basically his levels. These are his levels, and they would do, they would put the Condor on, and then basically they would lose sometimes, they'd win sometimes. But when they lose, they would double down. Okay. And so, chat, I'm going to need your help. How many times did he say that he was like, how many times could he fit? Was it 7? Is a 1 DTE 5 wide Condor about 20 delta? Those were his levels. That was pretty straight.
1 DTE.
Yeah. A 1 DTE 5 wide 20 delta Condor.
20 delta. And he put it on the last 15 minutes after the market close?
I believe that's the case. And do you guys remember how many times could he lose? I want to say it was 7, but I could be wrong. But anyway, he lost 5 times in a row. And so basically he had figured out that, well, the chance to lose 5 times is vanishingly small. Now, this is the part that got me, because I watched this kind of haphazardly, but the 5 in a row, what was the vanishing small number? Wasn't it like 3%, which is not a small number at all in relation to trading? That's not a small number. I want to say it was like 2 or 3% chance that it could happen. But here's the thing, Dan, I mean, with any type of trading, let's say it was 2%. It could be more, it could be less. I don't know. Give him credit. let's say there's a 2% chance that it could lose 5 times in a row. And if you lose 5 times in a row, you go bust. Let's say that's the game. The details are a little different. Dan, given enough occurrences, that you will have a 5 day in a row loss.
Yeah, you better enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just straightforward. It's just straightforward that like you will, like, you roll, think about a quarter, think about anything. You say, okay, what's the chances that you're going to flip tails 5 times in a row? Well, I don't know. Whatever the number is, I don't know what it is. I haven't finished my coffee yet. And you say, okay, you flip it 5 times in a row, you die. Every time you don't flip it 5 times in a row, you get $1 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, the way those numbers work out, this is pretty straightforward. Like, if you keep rolling, you will die.
Yeah. So Troy, let me just to make sure I understand. So let's say he puts this on today at the end of the day, the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think he's done now for right now, but yes.
Oh no, I know.
Assuming, yeah.
Just so I understand, he'd do a 20 delta. He's carrying an iron condor overnight. And then if it goes against him the next day, then he's rolling it.
Yeah.
Is that my understanding? So
not really rolling it. I mean, he's just doubling down. So it's SPX, so it's cash settled. So like, there's not really a roll. It's just he's basically say he had the 20 delta condor, he lost it went out. He resets it at a 20 delta the next day, but yeah. Sorry, you are echoing a little bit.
Oh, can you?
Oh, you're good.
I don't see my. Is my video working?
Yeah, the video's working.
So
I tell you what, if you refresh real quick, and make sure, because I want everybody to hear what you're saying.
Okay, let me just see refresh. 1 second.
Oh, you're good. Tom, funniest thing is his memberships are complaining he no longer gives signals. Well, Tom, stop complaining in the group. I mean, listen, you're just adding, I mean, that's crazy. I don't understand what his levels were. That was the thing that was interesting to me. But
he tries.
Dan, you were saying.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Because so let's say I lose, I do this Tuesday night and I lose Wednesday because it goes against me. Then at the end of the day, am I doing bigger size? Is that?
Yes. If you lost,
you double your size. If you lose 2 days in a row, triple your size.
Yeah, I think you're double. That's where the details get a little hairy to me. But I think you double each time.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of lessons here, and he would just do this every day at the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, boy, there's so much here, Troy. But the biggest thing is, it's what is it in people, Troy? You're a pastor. Psychologically, what is it in people that, and a lot of these, it seems like we're beginners. I mean all different levels. Am I right on that? Different levels of experience. What is it that people's, it's like, I hate to give this example. Remember with drinking the Kool-Aid, right? That this guy's got the answers, right? And forget even the math part of it, that just a strategy. You're doubling down when it goes against you, right? You're increasing your size, and people are going in blindly. Obviously, it sounds like this guy was a charismatic person, right? But also people were going, beginners were going pretty good size, right? These guys were all. Now, were they all putting it on independently? Do you know that, or was he like managing this big trade? Getting approval to do their iron condors for them? Do you know, or
that I don't. I think everybody was doing it themselves, but I could be wrong. I think everybody, the way he was doing it was he was just giving the level. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, chap. That I don't think he was pooling the money. I think he had a monthly membership fee, and he would give the levels, and then you put the trade on yourself.
Oh, you put the trade on yourself. Okay.
That's what I think happened. I could be wrong.
I'm shocked he lasted.
Oh, he had a fund. He had a fund. Okay.
Okay, so he would put, so then he's putting in, okay, he has a fund and then he's putting in an order for 10,000 of these or whatever.
Yeah. 100,000. Oh, I mean, it was a lot.
Okay.
I mean, Dan, this was the thing. The reason I knew about it is because it was everywhere last year that like it was a lot. Guys, I don't remember how big it was, but I mean, it was so much so, Dan, that like you could see everybody who was watching kind of market orders, who had the data to be able to see that, you could see when it was placed on.
Wow. Oh, and especially, I mean he's coming after the market at the last 15 minutes, right?
I believe so. Again, I want to say that was the case. And so it was very clear. It was very clear. And that was one thing, Dan. I mean, these are the things that people kind of talk about it. There's two things. It was so by that point on Christmas Eve, I think was the big loss, the last loss. It was 100,000 lot.
Mm.
That's a lot of each side. So that's a lot of contour. That's a lot of gamma, whatever you want to put on that. That's a lot of it.
And that's after he probably already doubled it, right? So he didn't.
Yeah, he had doubled a lot by that point.
Well, the other thing I think about from an execution, this is probably, I mean, this is the least of
this is what we talk about.
I'm a market maker. So I'm just thinking of those guys in the SPX, and I'm thinking how I would price these things.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
When you want to, I mean, I hate the word fleece, but it's like you gotta camouflage it. You gotta work it a little bit because
if you knew, Dan, as a market maker, if you knew every day you're going to get this flow at the same time,
I'd be sending them flowers and candies because you know what, Troy? But we did. A lot of people were, I remember when I was trading in the for a little bit this Conseco pit, and this guy came in every month to roll his. Let's say he sold puts, he'd roll them once a month. But you know what? Maybe he had a little extra time that day. It'd be like Tuesdays at 10:30, he's coming in. You could count on it. Guys would change their lunch around that day. But you know what? It's kind of crazy. You felt bad for the price. I mean, he got a fair price, but people were setting it up and basically saying, nobody undercut this market. We're giving this wide market. This guy's coming in. And if this guy would have shopped it a little bit, he probably could have got a lot better price. But, these guys in the pit who trade the 0 day, here comes the whale, right? Here comes the whale. Let's give him. So he wasn't getting any good,
And everybody knew. I mean, again, I have a buddy who, shout out my buddy, one of my best man at my wedding, longtime friend. He's learned options in the last year. He's really smart and he asks the right questions. And so he says all the time, I mean, that the market's rigged, right? And I'll always kind of take the other side and say, the market's not rigged. The market's a lot of things, but it's not rigged. Parts of it are rigged, but not all of it. And so, strangely enough, the way I always tell them is like, the only rigged one I know is 401k. Like the fact that everybody just buys the stock market, that's rigged, but everybody knows that's rigged. Everybody just buys it every month.
Yeah, and it isn't. I mean, when you think about it, if you go into a car dealer and you say, I just got in the world today. I was living in the moon. I come in here. Your sticker price on the car in the parking lot says $32,000. I'll pay it. They would adopt you, right? They would just say, you're done. And I think to go in at the last 15 minutes on 100,000 order, and most market makers at that time, they're already got their coat. They're ready to go to the train to go home. They don't want to trade at that point, but they're not going to miss this, right? That they could lie, and they can hedge it if they wanted to, right? I mean, they don't need to hedge. They're doing the opposite, right? They're doing the opposite. So they're coming in with like a rick, right? They're coming in with a reverse iron condor at really good prices, right?
Well, that's the key. That's the key is like, to your point, I mean, you're not getting a good price on a condor the way he did it. So that's step one. Like, it's not smart in the sense that you don't want everybody to know what you're doing all the time, and you don't want to do it at the same time. Like, it is what it is. That's just not going to help you. And so you didn't get a good price on the Condor. But here's the second thing, and this is where it just kind of revealed. I think people kind of, I mean, not to crap on the guy, because I mean, we all have our own issues. But one of the problems was, I think people, his service was so expensive that I think it kind of built a false sense of like he's a genius. And his research basically crumbled at the end, because people started to realize, like, wait, you did this on a half day? You think about Christmas Eve. If you've traded for 2 years, and you've traded, if you've watched Christmas Eve, you've watched any half day trading where the market closes early. Well, there's outside, we talked about this on Christmas. There's outsized moves, right? And it means nothing. Right? That's the thing with those half days, is volume so low that anything can move it along the line, but it's there's no narrative to it. It's just moving. And so he put this on Christmas Eve, which makes no sense from his strat. That's not if you're trading condors, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. And I've never been, I mean, I get it. Some people, I've never been one for, again, in the right hands and the right size, right? But like, let's say somebody's selling puts or selling put credit spreads, right? And it goes against you. Roll it out and roll it down. And some people maybe, and you'd hear this, like, I'm going to roll it out and roll it down, maybe increase my size a little bit because I want the same credit as before, right? And I never liked the kicking the can down the road. I just, for me as a risk manager, I just, it didn't make sense. And again, the size, here's there's many thoughts to this, but part of it is sizing, right? You could say, even if somebody drank the Kool-Aid, right, and said, I'm in, right? But you would hope they read it, right? That it was like, this guy's doubling. I've got $100,000 account, somebody, I'm putting in $1,000 or $500. But I'm sure these people just kind of, the more Kool-Aid they drank and the more results, and it sounds like this guy had quite a personality, I'm going more. Honey, one more year we'll be retired, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And so again, there's a lot here, and you feel to me, I feel bad for the people. I feel bad, just for him, going through all this, it's quite a challenge. But I think there's some principle, there's some risk management principles here, and it does give options a bad name, when it's really a risk management issue, isn't it? I mean,
100%.
The
100%. And I mean, listen, Tom and I trade some some butterflies that, I mean, Tom and I could charge $5,000-$10,000 a month, and it'd be the best of both worlds, because it'd $5,000 to $10,000 a month subscription fee, but we would probably let you go bust even faster than Condor, so you'd know quicker that it didn't work. And so, we might be putting that out there. But the thing that was crazy to me hearing that is, you hear these after effects, and someone says, I lost my life savings. And Dan, you taught me, and this is why we put this stuff out there. And on any given day, we might be talking about something you're interested in, you guys are interested in, maybe you're not interested in. But the whole point is, every day, if you just listen, we're going to get you like some risk management stuff in your ear. And because someone somewhere should have told someone, you don't put your life savings in one option strategy.
Well, yeah. And even, I mean, I try to, just with beginners in general, no matter how much capital, I'm always like, don't trade over $500 and I mean, you could, and you're doing the small account challenge, keeping the trades relatively small, but I mean, keep the trades 500 and stay there for 4, 5, 6 months till you know what you're doing, right? And I think people got to, here's the thing: if people are paying, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I'm just thinking out loud. If people are paying $5,000 a year to get his daily signals, is that right? Which to me is crazy. But what is it?
5,000 a month. I think it's 5,000 a month.
No. It couldn't.
No. Chat, tell me. I think it was 5,000 a month.
I think a year.
It could. Oh gosh. Tom says he's still doing it. Hold on, I got sneeze.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, caught some sneeze.
What did Tom say?
He said he's doing the same martingale strategy on rut.
No, he could be out quicker. See, at least in
a
rut,
lot quicker.
out quicker because
That's
rut's
right.
like 30 to 40% higher implied volatility.
Yeah, 5,000 a year. You're right.
Okay, right. So yeah, but still 5,000. Now that creates, okay, you're a new person. How is a new person or any looking at it? Well, I paid 5,000 for this newsletter. I've got to make, right? Now I've got to make X amount to pay for the newsletter and get this. So it's regardless of what the heck the guy's doing. And Martin,
again, it's after the fact. You look at things on history. That's why I love history, is you see the strength of things, and then when it fails, you can see the overwhelming weaknesses of the things. And wisdom is to be able to use history to say, let me see if I can perceive some of the weaknesses ahead of time. And this is one of those instances where, okay, this service that does a condor, what's a condor? Let me look it up. Why is he doing a 20 delta? Maybe you back test it. And people have back tested it. It's not the crazy thing. It's one thing to martingale an insanely good strategy. No one should do that. It's another thing to martingale a strategy that's not that good, and that strategy was not that good.
Yeah. And that's, I think that's the thing. That's an issue. I mean, to me, I struggle with that a little bit with alert services without because alert services, they don't want you to know the magical strategy that they're doing. A lot of times they won't even, they'll try to camouflage what they're doing because, if you see the graph, a graph's a graph, right? You can see what they're doing. But if they're not explaining it, you could get caught up in, well, they're making 10% every hour or 15% every hour, and you don't question that, right? And I think that's where the getting an explanation, right? Talking about, well, what is the risk here, right? And I think, and it gives bad name to iron condors, but I think there's people like Tammy and others who are incredibly conservative and do a great job with the risk management. There are people, but I noticed this like years ago. I remember talking to somebody about this, Troy, that newsletter services. You'd see all these newsletter services, and people would be getting, okay, iron condor newsletter, iron condor. And every time, right, you'd have a big market flush, right? A big market move, you say, whatever happened, you'd lose half of them, right? Because that's when you find out, right? Anybody could, put an iron condor. It's a high probability. It's going to test well, right? Iron condor is going to test well with a low delta. But until you have a extended crazy period, that will tell you the risk management. Do you agree? Right? I mean, and that's the key. And so, whereas a lot of people will just look at a track record, but not say, well, what is the risk involved here? And what are they going to do to handle the risk? And I think, but you can be done, right? There's people, as I said, like Tammy and others who, and Mark, right, who are doing these selling 0 day. These are 0 day or 1 day that do a great job because they're on top of it, right? They're Barney Fifes, right? They're nipping it in the bud. They're handling the risk management. proper sizing, closing it out.
Yeah, they're not martingaling.
They're not doubling down. None of these. Yeah. But it's anyway.
Listen, that's why I love hearing and reading about Jim Simons, the man who broke the market or made the market or something like that. It's a great book. I think because he's interesting. He was like the original kind of quant guy. The fund did a really, really good for a long period of time. And, you look at him, I like the guys that, he smoked cigarettes, I think died of lung cancer. So not for that, but he looked really cool when he talked because he was smoking. So, I know that's an oxymoron, but he looked really cool because he just smoked. He's an old guy and he's like, I don't know. I just like math. That was his reasoning. And I like those guys. I like those guys that aren't like, and my surefire system will produce this. I like when people don't go into things saying they're geniuses. Let's figure out who's a genius over time. Let's let it work out naturally. Dan, speaking of genius, what Captain Condor could have used?
What?
He could have used
options
trading for beginners.
That's funny. Every time I see, Troy, those little kids in the background, that might be the most precious picture that you've ever found.
It's a question. Listen, it's a question of,
first of all, those are the cutest kids you'll ever see in your life. Whoever owns those kids.
Whoever owns those kids,
raise your hand. Those are all. But yes, we are going to today at 11 o'clock. We're going to try to make just deal with a long call. We're going to look at Microsoft, but we're going to try to make it fun and practical. We're not going to spend 30 minutes on just a strike price. We're going to go over 15 different concepts to help you understand them in a practical way. We're going to get the modeling tool out there and talk about a long call. Just focus on one thing, but get at it from a practical. And then we're going to issue a challenge. We're going to model it. We're going to have Troy. We're going to model this long call after. We'll save it. We'll go through it. And I'm going to give a little quiz in the morning tomorrow. So this, even though we're talking about buying an out of the money long call in Microsoft, we're going to hit at things that obviously will be for the beginner, but then was it Emerald, the cook? Emerald, a spike. Remember?
Bam.
Bam.
Oh yeah.
We're going to put a little more hot sauce. So we're going to talk about, even today, because it'll be recorded and it might be going over the edge, we're going to talk about, with just a long call, bring in things like delta, gamma, vega, theta, expected move, implied volatility, earnings, to make it practical. What are things? And we're going to use an out of the money call, because if you ask people that have bought a call in their lifetime, wouldn't you say because it's cheaper? Troy, people go after an out of the money. So we're going to kind of bring in the world of what are the considerations, and then just try to make it practical. We'll give some homework on the modeling tool, and then we will have a quiz tomorrow. And Friday we'll have a little bit of a quiz. But you know what? Don't tell anybody this, but as I'm making the quiz, as I'm going through some of these things, some of them I had to refresh myself, right?
I love it.
And some of them I had to, don't tell anybody. But so I think this is good for all of us at all different levels. And we'll have a conversation with Troy on this, but I think it's getting that practical, because I think one last thing, Troy, I think it gets in the world of, so much theoretical, right? There's theoretical Greeks, and you buy a strike and you buy an out of the money call and you hold it at expiration. Stop. Show me someone who's held an out of the money call to expiration. What does somebody usually do with an out of the money call? And so we're going to hopefully make a basic strategy, just a long call. And as Emerald would say, put a little bam into it.
Oh yeah.
That's the goal.
Listen, the question is, are you willing to swallow your pride and say, are you going to be one of those guys that says, I would never be one of the kids in the background? Or are you like me and Tom, shout out Tom in the chat, who say, I'm proudly in the background. I'm in the background and Dan's leading us.
You know what? I'm in the background too. We're all
in the background.
You know what? The market, market's like the ocean. It's much bigger than any of us. The more wouldn't you say, Troy, the more you trade, the more you realize how little you know. Or I should say you respect the market, right? And you don't, you have bigger respect for the market. And that's why I'll just say this real quick. Whenever we would get a new trader at Mercury Trading, when I was working with the Nigerian brothers, the problem you had to break a new trader like a bronco, like a horse, right? You get a wild horse. All these young bucks that would come in 21 or 22 years old, we'd say, just put it on delta neutral, follow, adjust when you're supposed to, blah, blah, blah. But the young bucks would always, you know what? They come in 10,000 or 5,000 deltas long or short. And then you'd ask them, well, why? Because I have a feeling, right? I believe it's going up. Here's why. And until they get that out of their system, usually by losing, right? You got to break them, because you have, I don't know if it's just being young or just when you come in, you think, hey, I know which way it's going, right? I know. And it's, just keeping neutral. And not that you can't swing a few deltas, but there was always a big directional bias with new people. They thought they knew which way the market's going, which, not too many people in the history of civilization have done that. Would you agree, Troy, on a day-by-day basis, figure out which way the market's going? I mean, but anyways, so we'll see everybody at 11. Thanks. And hopefully we all learned something from the Captain Condor. My thoughts and prayers go out to him and the people, because it's, hopefully they all use this as okay, let's get, instead of let's go and try to get the money back and do the same thing. Hey, where were we wrong, right? What were we? And that the people try to learn it themselves. Anyway.
For sure. Listen.